sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light. Ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel. I took the red pill. I know life's short, so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel?
All right, welcome to the Time Smith podcast. I don't know why, maybe it's just podcasts are great, but I am excited. I help those of you that are maybe overwhelmed or can't get to those important tasks or have some dreams that you know you need to get your day-to-day down first, or you're just not focused, or you get interrupted a lot. I help those of you in that situation with my 5-step daily routine to quit distractions, to manage your email and chat way more effectively, get one main thing done a day, and wrap it all in a daily routine so that you get that momentum, you build that habit, and so you can basically have a work day that's clear, where you're in control, you're productive, and I like to say you have that done feeling at the end of the day. So that's what we're here to do, and if you subscribe and are just listening, I'll let you know that today we're talking about the 3 reasons getting through your email is key to your next explosive productivity gain. But first, let me just remind you or let you know that I have a free gift for you today. So we're going to be talking about email and how that can really get you to the next level if you can get through that in a good way, and I'll convince you of it here and give you some practical tips. But the other thing I want to give you is a free guide, or a free checklist rather. You'll find that at timesmith.work/email. And this is going to give you the 7 steps to managing your email and chat. So it's kind of like a step-by-step for everything you could do with a single email or chat before you archive it or mark it as read for a chat. And I want to liken it to good old Pokemon. I'm learning how to play Pokemon with my son right now. And it has on the board 7 steps. Each turn you go in order of those steps. And my son and I are still at the stage where every single turn we are reading every step, all 7, to figure out which of the steps apply to each turn. And it's similar to email, but eventually we will, I'm sure we'll know it well enough we won't have to reference it every time. And same with you. You will get through this. It's an exhaustive list so that you can learn this skill and not be confused when there's nuances and things. The 7 steps will get you everything you need. So check out that checklist. And I didn't skimp out on any, I knew that part of the email checklist is putting that information, because email's not a good repository for like tasks and things you're waiting on. So you need 3 lists, and that email checklist guide has that as well. So you'll have everything you need. Again, that's at timesmith.work/email. All right, let me tell you just really quickly why it just in my personal journey, this has been helpful. So I did a lot of things in the power routine. I stopped distractions. That was really big. I started getting, one main thing done a day at least, and, feeling good about that traction and getting forward progress. But my email just always kind of taunted me. It was something that just wasn't quite important enough to do. So I'd tell myself I was going to do it at the end of the day, and then or later, and then it could become the end of the day, and just not quite important enough to do. I have other things, and I wanted to get to the next thing. And eventually I would, 3 days later, I would get through all my email, and it was just a drag. And then it would go, and I'd do it again. I'd kind of wonder if there's anything important hidden in there, and it'd just kind of just be this low-lying stress. Like, I've got to get back to that. I told myself I would, and I know that there's things I need to get to, and all of this stuff. And the moment that I just made this part of my daily routine, I made it a habit every day to get through my email, and I did it first thing because I know there are some, area jobs and things and some advice out there not to do email first thing. But to me, if you do email first thing, you can get through all of it, you get clear, and you know exactly what you need to do next, and you don't feel like you might be missing anything. And it's really like it gives you the propulsion you need into your workday. So I think that it's good to do it first day, and that's really what got me going, is doing it first thing every day. And I'll say that once I really started doing that every day and committed to it, it just, like, there's almost like this next level you get to. Like you just feel like clear and control. You know exactly what you could be working on. Nothing is potentially falling through the cracks. You're not telling yourself you'll get to it and you're not, and people are waiting on you, and then it's a little bit too late and you're embarrassed to follow up 4 days later when you probably should have followed up a day later, and the tasks aren't getting done and all of that, and you're just kind of all that low-lying stress and anxiety that's just there because you're just not positive that you're working on what's most important, and you're kind of maybe even procrastinating what you think you need to get to, whatever that looks like. So once I just started getting to it every day, it was a game changer for me, and I just felt clear. I felt more in control, and that's where I want you to get. So today we're going to talk about just the 3 main reasons to start getting an email so that I can further convince you. Number 1 is just simply being dependable and encouraging. So there's a person that I follow, and I built a really big project all around their stuff. They're not like a huge name, but I really followed them and their podcast constantly, listened to everyone, and was really helped by their stuff, built everything from the ground up using their system. And I sent an email to him just saying thank you, and also just how great it's been, and that sort of thing. And I think I had a question in there or something. And in his podcast, he says, like, email me, he gives his email out and says to email me, which I'll do the same, robert@timesmith.work, email me. But, he didn't email back. And I was a little bit hurt. I know he's busy, but he also says that he looks at emails, and I kind of poured my heart out to him in this email and was just so thankful and kind of talking about, what it meant to me and stuff. So I replied again, and I said, I don't know if you got a chance to see my email, but this and that. And I did talk to him a little bit about one of the services Timesmith offers. So maybe he felt it was salesy or something, but just still crickets, no answer. And that just hurts. I'll be honest. Like it hurts to not get a response. This isn't the only time that's happened. And I know on a greater or lesser degree, this happens for us throughout our days that, we're emailing our teammates or our customers or our bosses or, depending on the content, maybe it's personal, maybe it's not. But when you don't get a response, it's kind of like somebody telling you their address, but every time you go knock on the door and they're like, yeah, stop by any time. But then you knock at the door and they just don't answer until you bang the door open, and they're like right there the whole time. And they're like, oh yeah, I was just too busy to get back to you. It just kind of is rude. Like, would you, thinking of being on the other side, would you be just sitting on the other side of your front door and somebody knocking that you had invited to stop by any time and just ignore them over and over? I mean, it's just not how you would want to be treated. And so you should treat people how you want to be treated. And if you can get through your email every day, then you can be somebody that has the time, the wherewithal to pause and understand what's next in a communication, understand what the person is really needing and getting at, and have the presence to be encouraging and to be respectful of them by answering them. So I know it's not the standard. I know it's not normal that you get back to everything and everybody gets back to you. And it's just kind of like, okay, that people ignore emails. It's almost assumed. I think that's why chat is successful, is because it just interrupts people quicker, so they have a better chance of responding. So the very existence of chat kind of seems like it points to the fact that people just ignore emails all the time. But that doesn't mean you have to be normal. You can be not normal. You can be, I'm trying to think of a word that's like ordinary, but anyways, I want to say super ordinary, but that's not a word that you want to be either. Anyways, you can be the exception. You can be the encourager. You can be the rock for other people. You can be the one moving things forward. You can be all of that. I mean, what would it look like for you to be a man or woman of integrity that people could depend on and count on. I've been realizing just how valuable this is in the workplace recently. Like when you chat or email somebody you can depend on, there's just like this feeling like of respect, but also of like, oh, thank you. Like I know you're not gonna like make excuses or not do the things you say or kind of let things go. And it's not like people are being malicious when they do any of that, but when you have somebody that you can depend on and you send them something, it's just this feeling of like stability in a rock. And you could be that for other people. Like it's rare. I think it's unique. And if you can get back to people and follow through on things, that's a big part of the equation of being somebody who's dependable, is just getting back and seeing things through. So just once a day, get back to people, get through all your email and all your chat so that nothing goes, longer than 24 hours. I want to email and chat. Chat, you can do just a little bit more, like maybe 4 or 5 times in the day, but check that much. If you can get away with less, do less. But email, I really feel like you only need to respond once a day, and then kind of you can look once or twice more for any immediate needs. But if you're always checking email and chat and trying to be dependable in the sense like you get back to people within the hour, you're going to cause a lot more communication because people are going to be emailing you a lot more. If you wait, then for whatever reason, the email responses just decreases a lot. It doesn't mean I don't think that you're not doing your job, but it just means that you're not babying people and they're going to look for their own things. But if they need you, and they're going to email you and know that you're going to get back. And I think if you email right away back, then now they expect to email that you expect an email right away back, and it just causes this lots more work for you. So just once a day with email and a few times with chat. All right, second point of why you should do email is opportunities. There's a lot of important stuff buried in your email. You can think of it kind of like dirt. I mean, a lot of emails are dirt, but there's also silver and gold and even sometimes diamonds in there. Unfortunately, that's just like how life is, and especially if you have customers or colleagues or bosses that expect things of you, then it's really important stuff that you get to. And you know this, and that's why you look at your email probably, but you don't get back to all of it. And the reason you tell yourself that you're going to get back to it is because it's important, but it's not urgent. There's kind of like a 2x2 matrix that you can think about with this. It's like how important is something and how urgent is it? People tend to get back to just whatever is urgent, but really forget about the important things that are not urgent. And so this is a chance, if you can get through your email every day truly, that you're going to be getting back to those important things, even if it's not urgent. And I think that this is why the average person has 1,200 unread emails in their inbox. People are marking them as unread or glancing at them, but then leaving them because they're wanting to get back to it. All right, and the third part, which is the biggest one, the first two are very important, but the third one, this one just makes so much sense logically, and like you just have to check. You have to get through email every day after I tell you this last one, is the fact that you're already looking at email longer than you would if you just got through it. The average person spends 2.5 hours a day in email and chat, and I think that might have been a 2019 statistic before so much remote work. So just imagine now how much we're looking at email and chat a day. And that's more than a whole day's worth of work, because that's 2.5 hours of distracted looking like throughout your day. And every distraction costs you 23 minutes of productive task focus time. So if you take all of your distractions where you're uprooted and go to email just to look at it or whatever, and are distracted from your task, 2.5 hours turns into 8, 9, 10 hours pretty easily and pretty quickly, with just how our brains work with distraction, where we need focus time, we need free from distractions. So all of that to say, I have 50 plus projects or whatever or so going on at a given time. And it takes me about a half hour to an hour to get through all my email every day and chat and do all the tasks in that email that are less than 15 minutes long. So if it takes me, as kind of a project manager, account manager, overseeing a lot of communication, that's like my main job is probably communication, at least a big part of it, then if not majority, then and it takes me 45 minutes on average, but the average person in general, it's 2.5 hours a day. Then that just means that by skimming and being distracted and not really looking and kind of getting back and kind of doing the urgent things and doing a task and getting back, you're actually spending a lot more time in email than if you just got through all your email in one sitting and we're done. So instead of spending 2.5 hours of distracted time, please just get through your email in one sitting. And I promise you, it will give you that clarity the rest of the day. It will give you that space you need to be creative, to be productive the rest of the day. And you're wasting that extra time checking email all throughout the day. Don't do that, because you end up spending 4 times the amount of time checking email. Instead, get through it in one sitting. You'll spend less time in looking at email and be more productive with it. A lot less time and a lot more productive. So clearly, just get through it all in one sitting. Makes sense mathematically. Makes sense because you can get to the important stuff that's not urgent. And you can be a dependable, go-to person. All right, those are the 3 big reasons, including, and just my story at the beginning. Try this out, make it a daily routine, do it first thing, get through all your emails and get through all your chats. And let me know how it goes in the comments in YouTube or email me, robert@timesmith.work. I'd love to hear the stories. That checklist kind of includes all of that and the 3 lists just to make it simple and streamlined and easy for you. And that's at timesmith.work/email. All right, so if you're interested in getting through email quick, which I hope that you are, to give your focus to it, attention to it, if you don't want to waste your attention and energy and time the rest of the day, if you want to be free and buy back your time, this is one of the biggest ways to do it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you back here next week.